And welcome to the No Assembly Required podcast, a podcast where we talk about nothing and Roberto yells at the clouds because he's an old man. And please make sure you are subscribed and you are joining us at 8 p.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time on Thursday for the No Assembly Required podcast on YouTube live. Now, your trio of hosts, starting with RedRomina, and your second host, Audrey Inferno Squad Ember, and your third and final host, the Dark Lord of the Internet himself, Roberto Blake. Welcome to the No Assembly Required podcast, filmed in front of a live YouTube audience. Please like and subscribe.
Inferno Squad, that sounds intense. I don't know.
It is.
I don't know if I would want to be a part of that. That sounds like
It is.
It sounds pretty cool. I want to be part of Inferno Squad. Can we rename our squad to Inferno Squad?
Inferno Squad?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm down.
Are we dropping Legion of Doom?
We'll always be the Legion of Doom in my hearts. Forever in our hearts, the Legion of Doom.
It is a good one though. I have to say, I am a part of a lot of group messages. I will say, not voluntarily, but I am a part of a lot of group messages, and we each have our own little name. We each got our own little name. And now that we have, the pinned messages and all that stuff on iMessages, I get to see it front and center, right? It's really useful for when I'm texting you guys, because before, since I only really text the NARP group specifically, when we're talking about what we're going to talk about and stuff like that, it doesn't happen as frequently as our other group chat. So I always get it lost in like the thread of comments but
now I love the new iOS update.
But the pin stuff, right? The pin stuff really helps. But I will say Legion of Doom is probably the best one that I've got going on. All of my other ones are a little bit like, whatever. Like they're cool, but like,
but they ain't this cool.
They ain't that cool,
I have my mom, my dad, and my brother pinned, and that's it.
Wow, really?
I have pinned.
Man, no, I'm taking this is like freaking like it's MySpace top 8. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what?
Wait, hold on. I want to see what it looks like when you pin like.
You want me to send you a screenshot, Audrey? Because I got it.
Let's see. I have my two best friends from my high school years that I still actually talk to. I have you guys from NARP, the Legion of Doom. I have my assistant coach, Andy. I have this girl that's a friend of mine that I wish was more than a friend of mine. I have this girl that I used to date that still I'm cool with, and then I've got my mom, and then I've got my buddy Andrew Can, and that's my 9.
Wow, you really stay cool with the previous relationship?
Well, we dated. I wouldn't necessarily call it a full-blown relationship.
I see.
Like,
okay, there was like a thing happened.
Yeah, there are phases of just because a relationship changes doesn't necessarily is not the same thing as it having an expiration date.
Okay.
Maybe.
Not for everybody and not for every relationship. There are other relationships that have a full-blown goddamn expiration date. You just throw that shit out. It's rotten. It's spoiled.
Yeah. I got things to say. We can leave that for another conversation if y'all want, because we will. But
we'll talk about internet news instead.
Yeah, let's talk about internet news instead. The stuff that's relevant to the entire global population. Wait, what's happening? What?
Did we tweet?
I'm working on it. I'm tweeting. Okay. I'm working on the tweet.
Okay.
But
Romina will work on the tweet.
Speak and type at the same time.
Romina will work on the tweet. I'll actually talk to Audrey about things relative to her generation.
Okay.
I'm being kicked out.
Relevant to
Charlie D'Amelio.
Charlie D'Amelio. What are your thoughts on this? Like almost like James Charles 2.0
I think
kind of.
People are trying to cancel her for, like, she's literally 16 or something. Like, yeah, it was insensitive what she said. But
in what way? What'd she say? And
I
why
mean,
was it
there's
insensitive?
the two parts. There's the I want to hit 100 mil, or I wish I hit 100 mil, which I don't care about that part. I think
Why
she
would
was
that
just
be
kinda
insensitive, and why would that be like, oh,
No,
Mr.
the
Beast says
other
he wants to be,
part, the
Mr. Beast
other-
always
hold
says he
on.
wants to be the biggest YouTuber and surpass PewDiePie. No one
I
says
agree
shit.
with you. It's the other part where she was complaining about the food or something that could come across as like a little bratty, not gonna lie. But like she's 16. I don't think it's worth canceling someone over something like that. She didn't offend or like I don't care about the subscriber thing. That to me
I'm a
is
picky
dumb
eater,
because I
and
think
there are
she's
plenty of
saying it
people.
as a joke, or like she wants to hit a goal. Who cares? Like there's no.
They're picky.
There's nothing wrong with that.
They're picky eaters. There are people who have, both guys and girls, who have anorexia and bulimia issues and everything like that. And like, and so the fact that like, if she can be a picky eater, but she's being healthy, then in this era in social media and with the like craziness of how young people, especially influencers, have body image issues, it's like if she, as long as she's eating, and as long as she's not like some people who won't be named, who literally are a mascot for like and glorify having a eating disorder, and that's largely their platform. There are literally multiple influencers I could be talking about when I say that, so it's not about throwing shade. There are two extremes of that are very obvious. I think we probably can think of, and I'll talk to you guys about that some more offline, because that's just like I'm not in favor of deplatforming people, but at the same time, and also I don't believe like in platforms getting involved in people's lives and how they live their lives. But on the other hand, there's a level of how irresponsible or complicit are you in like what is popularized on your platform that might be a dangerous lifestyle, and that bothers me. So like the eating thing, like people wanting to, and I understand that there are people going through right now. I do not accept the narrative and the virtue signaling that because of whatever your situation is during the pandemic, that you then get to use that as a stick to beat people who, God forbid, have it better than you.
Yeah.
Maybe because of the gap in like said opportunities that they had, or maybe because in the gap of the results of your work or whatever. Regardless of the reason, your circumstances are not a reason or a justification to attack somebody else just because theirs may not be as bad as yours or as dire as yours. That never justifies you. Your crappy situation never justifies you being a crappy person. And if you think that, you should full on be punched full force in the freaking face. Someone should Cobra Kai drop kick you in the face if you think that your crappy life lets you be entitled to be a crappy person. I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think they're being canceled for no reason. I think people literally just didn't want to see her hit 100 mil, and they wanted
in a
it
year
to go
after
down.
hitting a mil, because like they'd be cheering if it was Mr. Beast. They'd be cheering if it was PewDiePie. They'd be cheering.
Yeah.
They'd be, hell, back in the day before they became
People are
persona non
jealous.
grata, they would have cheered if it was the Paul brothers. When the Paul brothers were the golden boys of YouTube, they would have cheered. Like, dudes get away with so much. It's ridiculous. Like, I say that as a dude. Like, I say that as a big brother, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I look at like, you know, stuff with my sisters, and I think about like my brother, and I even like to a lesser extent me, and I'm like, it's like we could have gotten away with like whatever, and no one would have said something like what like what the hell. Like, so I understand the double standards. That's not like, and like I'll freaking elbow drop anyone who wants to come at me with the virtue signaling crap and everything like that, because I'm an older brother of two sisters. I absolutely know for a fact that boys get away with more crap. I absolutely know that for a fact.
Yeah, I also saw some stuff about how people were saying like Charlie like glowed down or something, which is so mean and rude, and it's like, yeah, that type of stuff is just disgusting. I feel bad for them for having to deal with
anyone who has
so
to,
much
anyone
BS,
who feels
like,
good, anyone that has to feel good about cheering for somebody's downfall is a loser and deserves whatever happens to them.
Yeah, and that is definitely more of a, because people were saying that because I guess they didn't like her like colored hair or something. I'm like, who cares? Like, who actually cares? She's 16. Like, let her do whatever she wants.
My brother's 22. He dyed his hair.
I know, but you know, these are just the preferences of some of the little boys watching who are like, I like you more when they like, you know, comment that, and it's like, she's 16, so these comments, I mean, it would get to anyone.
Yeah,
so it just,
no. Like, I mean, I can't even blame it on your generation when, like, you have, like, again, grown people who won't be named, like saying they're wanting to be super calling this out or involved and stuff like that. Someone twice this girl's age literally is really
I know
invested.
exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, like,
I'm not afraid to call him
this
out
person
because
has
he's
no
always
business
problematic.
putting the words or the word or phrase role model in their fucking mouth.
Trish.
Yeah. And whatever. I mean, I don't care if they're like cool with
Dude,
somebody
I
that
didn't
I'm cool
call her
with, but like,
Bless
because
you.
they're cool. Like, you know, this person's cool with somebody I'm cool with, but I'm like, I don't like whatever.
Well, I'm not, so I can go off. This person has been problematic literally forever. So once like just, you know, I understand the argument that everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but also this is like a 16-year-old we're talking about and someone who's literally like twice or more their age getting involved. Like, just
If everyone's entitled
stop.
to their
Pick on
opinion,
someone
I'm
your own
entitled.
size.
Pick on someone else.
If I'm a
No.
well, I mean, there's like, I mean, if I was, I have a horrible joke that I could get canceled for that I'll tell you guys offline and everything like that. And no, that's not me being two-faced. That's me being smart because I know
so
that there are
You
there
have
are
like a
in-house
list of
jokes.
things you're gonna tell us afterwards. I need
Yeah,
to
there's
start
like-
writing them down.
No, you're allowed to have in-house jokes because see, the thing is, jokes are no longer jokes on the internet and everything like that. I mean, you know, we talk all about
What's a
all this
joke?
freedom, but jokes are no. I'll tell you guys offline. Like
Joke.
jokes are no longer jokes on the internet and everything because like everyone will take anything you said, and the thing is, they'll literally beg the forgiveness of actual crimes that cost people money, property, their health. Literally, they will fight for the forgiveness of actual crimes, but will never forgive you the crime of ever offending them. And I think that maybe that just means some like people have never taken a punch to the face. I mean, like again, Cobra Kai reference. If anybody's not getting it, none of this is a threat of violence. It's all literally a gag with my love of Cobra Kai, which will have another season this spring. Thank God, because we need it. We need it. But,
Speaking of things that we need, shall we talk about YouTube taking people's paychecks?
I still want to talk about this a little bit more.
Oh my god.
And I'm serious because the level of pettiness, level of pettiness. I want to talk about the double standard because literally, if I said that, like, hey guys, like, I'm really excited about the idea of getting to 500,000 subscribers, no one will bat an eyelash, you know. If I talk about it would be so dope to do another 500,000 subscribers in 2021, after like all of this like time or after like whatever, like it'd be great to like hit this milestone and show people like blah 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 whatever, you know. That would be, or if I made here's the thing. I think that literally if I like tweeted right now, I know I'd get some crap from people. But it would easily get turned around to them real quick. I think I'd get some crap for people if I said, all right, you know, it'd be a dope milestone. It'd be a dope milestone next year to do $1 million in a year. It'd be a dope milestone for me to not like, you know, to hit $1 million in a year next year. And maybe at the same time, after doing my first $1 million year, what if I actually hit 1 million subscribers in a year? Now, there are people who would call me out and everything like that, but people would call them out for that. I'd have more love for that than hate for a lot of different reasons. And, you know, and the thing is, I know exactly how to flip it on people if they want to come at me sideways about it. But the thing is, I would not be canceled or losing subscribers or support over that at all. I'm pretty sure. I know there's some people who'd whine about it and do the whole anti-capitalist BS and everything like that, but they probably aren't following me anyway, so it doesn't matter. I mean, why, if you're anti-capitalist, would you be following a business guy? Like, there's no... Like, why would you be following a social media marketer / influencer? Like, it makes no sense. So,
Wait, are they changing the super chat percentages too?
I will tell you I will give you the rundown. I'll give you the rundown of that. But like, Romina, I think you kind of like appreciate my point here of like, there is literally no reason to cheerlead the failure of somebody successful who might have spoken out of turn or said something in bad taste, and she didn't do anything that was like super offensive. I mean, do you realize the army of people? And I love Mr. Beast. You realize the army of people who like stood up for him and went for people's throats for trying to cancel him over the old video where he's like, I identify as an attack helicopter. Like that was something that was legitimately offensive and in bad taste, not a matter of personal preference. Like, I'm a picky eater, or, oh, I want to hit a certain milestone. Like that was something that actually you could make an argument like deserves some legitimate criticism. People went for the throat on anyone who came at Jimmy for that. And the thing is, I also believe that it falls under the forgiven and forgotten category, but it's also, it doesn't offend me and it doesn't affect me. But like, it's so funny to me. And I think everybody invested in this Charlie BS. And I think everybody invested in being offended. I wonder what would happen if any of these people bothered to just hustle a little bit to make $15 today so they could donate it to their local food bank. If they put the same energy that they put into canceling influencers or being emotionally invested in influencers into their local freaking community, half the problems we got would disappear overnight. I swear to God. I swear to God. But I'm just an old man yelling at clouds. So screaming to get off my lawn.
It's true. How many followers has she lost over? But also the thing with Charlie's audience is they're very young.
Wait, she's lost 1 million?
Yeah, so she's at like 999 or something like that. There's some like live count of her followers right now, I think.
Of her followers dropping?
Yeah, there's some.
That seems very silly, though. It seems like she's being
They used to do that on YouTube until YouTube updated the thing. Until YouTube updated their API where you can't live stream that anymore. Remember how they did that with like James Charles? God, was that like a year ago or was that 2 years ago? I have no concept of time anymore in COVID.
2.
What is time?
No, 1. That was last year.
Dramageddon was literally just a year ago.
Dramageddon. I feel like Dramageddon never ends. Not gonna lie. It's just always Dramageddon.
Isn't that all of the? Isn't that 24/7?
Yes.
It's just a matter of who's the latest target.
I think another part of it though is that Charlie's audience is really young, so like they, it's easier to get up in arms about something when you're not fully thinking through stuff or.
I wonder if these young people like have actual problems.
That's what I was trying to say nicely.
Like for real though, it's like if you're that invested.
I mean, there's nothing bad about saying that, I mean, if you're immature, you're immature. I mean, that's just what it is, right? It's just what you are.
I would have loved at 16 years old to have had the luxury of being invested in what some rich person on the internet does. Because that's not like what my problems looked like at 16 years old.
I think it's more like 13.
That's not what my problems looked like at 13 years old either.
Yeah.
That would have been a luxury item.
No.
That would have been amazing to let that be my biggest problem or my source of frustration or what I get to be mad about.
Right.
That would have been amazing if my life was that easy.
Yeah.
So guys, should we dive into the topic of the night?
Oh. Yes. You need to give me the breakdown.
Roberto, would you like to give Audrey the breakdown of the sitch that's happening with YouTube right now?
Romina, give me a 60-second. Romina, put 60 seconds on the clock.
All right, 60 seconds. Oof. I'm ready. Hey Siri, set a timer for 60 seconds.
Your timer is set for 1 minute.
All right, and go. Okay, so Audrey, the deal is that this is the deal, no malarkey. YouTube, in its infinite wisdom, has decided that it will monetize non-monetized videos, but not pay the creators that don't qualify for the partner program for any ads that they run on those previously unmonetized videos. This will only apply to brand safe videos. This will only apply to brand safe videos. So the adpocalypse thing is still in play. They still will not put it on things they deem not advertiser friendly. This means that YouTube won't miss out on any of that sweet, sweet money if someone who doesn't qualify for the partner program goes viral. So people are mad about that. In other news, your YouTube earnings will now be classified as royalty income. And as such, if the government in its infinite wisdom decides to levy any taxes against that, they will be withheld from your YouTube paycheck rather than you paying them yourself.
Oh, timer's up.
Wait,
did
so
a
that last
fabulous
part
job.
applies to everyone.
The last part applies to everybody in the
Yeah.
partner program. The first part applies to channels like this one that are
I
not
feel like that would
monetized.
be convenient. No?
And well, the thing is, so
Wouldn't that be
here's-
convenient if they did that for you? I don't know. No?
Well, the tax thing, let me tell you about this. The thing is, it probably won't come out. Most of us will probably see, in my opinion, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a financial advisor, don't listen to some jackhole on the internet.
yeah, none of us
disclaimer.
are.
Yes.
I am.
So the thing
Oh.
is, the way I read this situation is that it says that if the government requires, which means that they're accounting for the fact that the tax codes could change because elections have consequences. The other factor there is there are situations where people know that their taxable income is typically if they do certain things, it can be garnished. So there are situations where if you were an employee, your paycheck would be garnished. YouTube pays you as a contractor a 1099, but the thing is that's counted as profits from a business. So it's a different form of taxable income than your day job. The problem there is that you pay those taxes on your own separately under normal circumstances. But if the government had a reason to garnish you, they wouldn't be able to do that with your YouTube income as it stands the way it is. So it being classified as royalty income, from my understanding and my research, is for the purposes that if there is a reason for the government to have access to any of your earned income, royalties allow them to do that, and it puts YouTube in compliance. The other thing is, since they're facilitating your income, the good news, though, is this. The good news is, regardless of what happens with this, because you are from verified earnings position, able to say that you earn royalty income the same way a musician, another performer, an author does, and that's more established and more traditional, it adds more legitimacy to our industry, and it makes it easier for you to verify and prove income when you need to go to the bank for a loan, a mortgage, or when you need to rent property. So, there's not everything YouTube does is horrible. I'm tired of entitled people always making it like they're out to screw them when you're not. I mean, I hate to break it to you. If you think you're so important that a multi-billion-dollar corporation has to literally set you up to fail, it ain't them, it's you, homie.
Okay. I mean, for me personally, I don't think I really care. But also it doesn't really apply to me, I guess.
Right.
When I was getting started, I don't think I would be mad if there were ads on my content. I think I'd be sad if a video went viral for some reason and then I wasn't able to, get the ads off that. But also, I probably wouldn't be taking YouTube that seriously or relying on it financially if I was just getting started. So, I don't know. I feel like it's not that big.
What it is that some people choose, even when they are eligible, they choose to not have ads because of the kind of content that they have. They don't want it to get split up with ads. An example of that is ASMR. Most ASMR channels don't have ads because it's very disturbing to be all relaxed and listening to someone whisper and then suddenly have a Burger King commercial come up and everybody's yelling. So there's just specific channels that choose to not have ads. So that's kind of a little bit okay, well, what do we do now?
The answer is simple. Meet the monetization requirements, because every other aspect of life where you want control over your career or you want control over your life requires you to step up and not do the bare minimum. You want control? take control. Then.
Right.
They told you exactly what you need to be able to control the ad experience, because you can turn off ads if you have 1,000 subscribers.
Right. But it takes time to get to that point, and it also takes investment from your audience to do that. And people get turned off by that kind of thing. So it's just a matter of these content creators now have to be transparent and be like, hey, this is kind of out of my control. So you have to kind of just deal with it until I get to this point. Subscribe to my channel so that I can turn them off. Or, do whatever.
But that's the deal. But that's the deal, because we're getting a free platform and they're getting free content. Is everyone literally just think that they can have the experiences they want without any investment at all, or no having to change anything on their own part? Do they think that that could go on indefinitely? And why would that be the case?
Yeah.
I understand the emotional reaction to not liking change, but what did they do that was so damn awful and everything? It's not like they kicked your puppy. They're a fucking company. They're a bit, sorry, like, well, we're not monetized anyway, but like, I mean, like, they're a company, they're a business, and when they succeed, creators do prosper because we get more features, they get to hire more people to make the systems better, they get to hire more people to go out and bring advertisers to the platform, because we still have not taken enough money from television. Billboards still did more this year, even with COVID, than digital advertising spending. Literally, people still spent more of their money, wasted, in my opinion, more of their money on billboards than putting it into the creator economy, the influencer economy. YouTube's on the front lines of like taking those dollars and putting them in our hands. I'm not against YouTube making more money or finally being profitable or any of those things. And the thing is, I understand that not every creator is out there trying to make it and everything like that. But this platform is, frankly, at this point, more for the people who are making a livelihood out of it than the people treating it like a hobby. And the fact is, the people treating it like a hobby are being subsidized by the people hustling, much like anything else in the first world.
Yeah.
Yay. Henny Martinez, I would love to hear your thoughts on YouTube always taking 30% from creators' super chats.
They facilitate you with the platform. You get free live streaming and bandwidth, a capability of broadcast technology that 15 years ago was only in the hands of 0.000% of people, aka major corporations and entities. I wouldn't cry about it.
Wait, so Roberto, when do you think it'd be crossing or too far for you? Do you think there is like a point where you'd be like, this is too much? Or
there's things I disagree with them on, but it's not a too much and everything like that, because the thing is, when you're asking someone for something or they're granting you something, it's at their pleasure. No one gets to come to me and tell me or dictate to me how or what they should get from me, because my answer will be no. Because I'm the one granting it, because I'm the one in possession of it, because it's like, the answer will be no. And if you insist upon it, I'll just beat the hell out of you.
Okay.
You can't compel me to do something that's to my own detriment for your betterment and not for your betterment, and not expect me to. Yeah, you can't expect me to do something against my own interest for your benefit to my detriment of self willingly, without resisting that or questioning it. Nor can you compel me to do it by force without expecting consequences. Christ. Like, I mean, you realize that last summer, Comcast, who I already pay money because I went over on the bandwidth live streaming, charged me $600 a month for overage fees the entire summer that I was doing live streaming. But YouTube charged me $0, and I made money off of YouTube. Could you imagine how much we'd have to pay to host if we were hosting our content on YouTube, and if we had to pay for the bandwidth fees like we would with a web hosting company? I used to work in web hosting. It cost a fortune. It would cost literally just to. Do you realize that it costs tens of millions in bandwidth alone to support PewDiePie's audience? I did the math on the amount of like I looked at like how big are the files for PewDiePie's videos, how many
Yeah.
views does he get, and I calculated like the bandwidth cost, and I looked at my cable bill, and I wanted to cry.
I feel like I agree with you in response to Henry's question about the super chats, and that's kind of how I feel about everything, where it's just they're providing a service essentially. They're handling a percent of the workload that I would have to do if I was doing it completely alone. And because of that, I'm paying them a commission. I'm paying them a percentage of what I make. And so to me,
brand manager for
makes sense.
sponsorships take 20%. Speak and engagement people take 15 to 20%.
All right. So Andy, there's a lot of questions here, so I'm just going to go through. So Andy San, I'm more curious about how to do my taxes now that YouTube earnings are listed as royalties versus business income. Are there tax benefits? Are there tax benefits to royalty income versus business income? Higher CPA.
Higher CPA. Like straight up. But here's what I will say. There are some benefits, in my opinion, in other ways. And while I'm not an estate attorney, what I will say, disclaimer, I'm not financial advice, is that royalties are true passive income in perpetuity, because you have to remember that people's families and people's beneficiaries still earn income after they've passed on from their books, their music, their art in the form of royalty, their intellectual property. So I actually think that there are some long-term benefits, as morbid as it might sound, to your YouTube income and your legacy on the internet from your content creation being classified as royalties. And I believe that that's better, because if you didn't incorporate as a business entity and there's not a succession plan in your business, then it's much harder to get any funds that you would want to go to your loved ones in a situation. So the thing is, I think that if you talk to an estate attorney, they will tell you that there's a lot of benefits to royalty income long term.
Yeah, that's mainly like the number one thing that I would say. Michael, just to clarify, did you say that if you do become a partner, you can take off the ads? Yes, Michael, you can decide where you want to place ads and if you want to monetize at all. Once you're a partner, yes. And let's see. Luca, any chance that we can hear the girl in the middle talk?
No.
She has tried to talk twice already.
I choose my words carefully.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if there's any other questions.
And I don't know anything about taxes. So I'm not going to say anything. I think it's a fine update, especially if you can like choose to turn it on and off once you hit 1,000. Seems pretty reasonable. And if you get a viral hit, maybe you'll get up to 1,000, and then I don't know. It's like a small price to pay to be able to start monetizing. Roberto on phone.
I think Roberto's on a phone call right now, so it's up to you, Audrey, now, because
should we pivot? What are we going to talk about now?
Oh, we're going to pivot?
I don't know. We don't have any other questions, I don't think.
All right, guys. Well, if you guys want to open up, we can do an AMA if the chat wants to ask some questions. Yeah, Roberto flexing that big phone. Yeah, he's got like a tablet on his ear right now.
I don't think he's flexing purposefully.
Want my channels to be something that I can pass down.
Romina, I can ask you a question.
Yeah, sure.
I don't have one.
All right. Well, you can think about it for a second. Yeah, I mean, I receive royalties through the acting stuff that I've done, and it's pretty much the same. It's not going to be very different. It's just how, like Roberto said, it's more of a long-term thing than it is something that you're going to see right away.
How does royalties for like something you've acted in work? Is it?
It's kind of like YouTube, where you get a check. Doesn't like you get a check from a video that you did forever ago. It's the same thing.
Remember how we talked about like Harry Potter before, and how those kids have to just sign off on their likeness being used, and they'll get money off of it if their character is included because it's their likeness. Well, I'll give you a primary example. We might do something with a brand, and they will ask us if there's more money for them to use some of our content. We'll retain ownership, but they license it. So they're paying us a fee instead of paying us royalties, because if they wanted to keep using it over and over, they would just have to pay us a fee in perpetuity called a royalty. So that means every time they use it or use it within a certain time period, we would continue to profit. And so when you star in a TV show, a movie, and so on and so forth, you get royalties on the benefits from the deals of licensing of that to another entity like Netflix, or syndication in broadcast, and so on and so forth. The same thing with the non-exclusivity on streaming music for Spotify, Apple, and Amazon, which, as you know, is why I said I wanted to go into that. Even though I'm not a talented musician, I made some beats back in the day, but I'm not a talented musician. I want to acquire the rights to some music that can be used streaming wise, and then give that away to creators and streamers, but then also play it in Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Tidal, all of that, guys, so that I can get royalties in perpetuity.
Right here. I actually have one right here. You guys just reminded me, because I actually haven't deposited it. So. Oh,
your royalty checks?
Yeah. So I got one right. Let me put this over here. Make sure that I don't disclose any
of the important ones.
Don't dox
important information that should not be. So this is kind of what it looks like. So you see, cool. It just says what it is, and then it'll say what the project is, and then it'll say the amount on another
column. All I saw was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Oh, okay.
So it says what it is, but it says like, it'll say like streaming or rentals, video on demand, like stuff like that. So it'll say
itemized,
kind of, yeah, the different percentages that you're getting from each thing, and then that happens like, it depends on your contract, but like you can get a couple of these checks a few times a year.
Cool.
But yeah, so it's pretty, and if you have, like, if you're running on a TV show, then you're getting it constantly, because it's
syndication.
You get royalties if the show is showed on another network.
Yeah, that's where the syndication.
So like
deals.
If an ABC show is shown on NBC, for example, then that's like extra money.
Yeah, every time that it's licensed to another entity. So, and the thing is, this is why it's actually there. And again, I know a lot of people, and it's become this popular thing to say there's no such thing as passive income, but it's somewhat intellectually dishonest. There's no such thing as get rich quick scheme. Like, there's no legitimate way to get rich quick. We should just say that. We should just say that, because it's called get comfortable slow. But it's the truth, because to say it's intellectually dishonest, if not outright dishonest, to say there's no such thing as passive income, because royalties in perpetuity. I mean, think about it like this. Making money in your sleep is amateur hour. You can still make money while you're dead, because the royalties pass on to your descendants. You still are making money for your descendants after you're dead. Because of your art, your music, the thing that you built. Or if the company is passed on and you built a brand that goes beyond you, that's handed down as a family business. And the thing is, that could be passive, because the children and grandchildren may never work in the business. It may be that you appoint a CEO that's stewardship, and they own the asset that is the business. They could just own the business and never work a day there. They could be the owners of that restaurant chain, or that grocery store chain, or that gas station chain, or those whatever it is that you build. Your patents can benefit your descendants in perpetuity. They literally will be earning money off the work you did long after you're dead. It doesn't get much more passive than that.
Yeah.
And yes, I understand that that's controversial because that's inherited wealth. But here's the thing. We should not cry about people being privileged beyond just saying, hey, can you acknowledge that there are other people who helped get you where you are, or that you were handed a legacy that you know, and you should honor that. Like, and the thing is, past a certain point, we don't need to tell those people how to live their life or shame them for how they live their life. We should live our own and get on with it. And I know that's not a popular thing to say, but my point with it is this. Every single one of us should love our kids and grandkids and the people in our bloodline who haven't been born yet. We should love those people we haven't met in our lineage enough yet to work our ass off for them to give them things that we didn't have before they're ever even born. Could you imagine ever feeling like a loser when you wake up every single day knowing and having the story that somebody 100 years ago loved you before you were born enough to build something for you? Christ. Stop crying about privilege and build it.
Someone said in the comments, people are talking about if they think YouTube will ever be replaced.
Oh, I've got thoughts on that.
That's a scary thought. I don't like that.
It won't ever be replaced. There's only one true competitor.
Juanfer's taken away from my royalty check.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Juanfer, you're sitting there robbing Romina. It's like YouTube ain't stealing from Romina, Juan. It's you. I'm joking.
I expect you to send my 2 cents via PayPal.
I already have an RB Clips channel, by the way, guys. I have a Clips channel. I haven't edited down the compilations. We need a No Assembly Clips channel one day because we actually have like 40 plus episodes now. So, guess what? I will do, guys. Get us to 1,000 subscribers, and we'll make the Clips channel.
Yeah, get us to 1,000, and then we'll make the clip channel. Because then we can hire somebody else to do it.
The reason we don't have platforms equal to YouTube is because we already made our choice. Like democratically, we already decided that we're not interested in a number 2, number 3, or any other quote unquote mediocre solution. There are plenty of people who tried to compete with YouTube. They all failed.
Yeah.
VidMe failed.
I'm actually wearing
Vessel failed. Vidler
I'm wearing
failed.
a VidMe shirt right now. Rest in peace, VidMe.
Pour one out for VidMe. Pour one out for VidMe.
No, I don't want to pour out my tea.
I've never.
Vessel failed. Vidler, and I know the founder and CEO of Vidler, he went on to form something else, vidIQ. Vessel failed. Vidler failed. VidMe failed.
What was the other one? The one that starts with an R?
River?
Rever? Yes, whatever it was.
River, like that failed. I think it was like
with 2 V's. Yeah.
Yeah. Vimeo has a completely different business model and creators tend to hate it. Like, freaking Daily Motion still exists, I guess, but who uses it? Like, it exists for the purpose of piracy as far as I'm concerned. It only exists for like public piracy. Like, it's that like it exists for no other reason. There's like there's a reason why there's not a YouTube competitor, and it's because YouTube isn't even profitable, you guys. Not for real profitable. Like, it's a loss leader. And they have Google's money to be able to hold their breath, and there's only so many people who can do that. And
do you think they would ever stop it?
What, YouTube?
Yeah. They
have too much leverage in the AI the data mining and AI is the market dominance. And it's the second largest traffic website, and they're now using it to feed Google search results. So the thing is, as an extension of Google, it's valuable. Independently, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's valuable as an appliance within Google's ecosystem, and it's a loss leader, and it's unprofitable without the subsidizing of Google's servers and cloud infrastructure. Excuse me. And most people, because again, I don't expect content creators to know that. I don't expect average consumers to know that. But they're all angry and complaining about things that are well beyond their caliber. They're like, like the sarcastic joke. I know it sounds condescending, but it's quite literally above their pay grade. It's above my pay grade to know that. It's above my pay grade to know that. I know that because I worked in web hosting and because I want to understand business and because I spend my free time studying multi-trillion-dollar companies to understand the world that I live in, because I'm insane. I'm insane. I'd be happier being ignorant.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, pretty much.
Yeah.
I do want to backtrack for a second because a couple people mentioned LinkedIn, and although LinkedIn has worked for some people, it has. I've published some videos through LinkedIn and have gotten quite a lot of traction from it, but the LinkedIn UI is not conducive towards creators or
None.
consuming content. It's just not good. Like their design is not good and it's not user friendly. It's not easy to use both as a consumer and as a creator.
TikTok won because Snapchat screwed up its UI, and now Instagram is following suit.
I feel like LinkedIn could have some kind of competition, not as far as like create like a space for creators, but it would be an entirely different demographic. But it's just their UI is just so not fun to be on. It's just not. And so I have stuff that I could totally post on LinkedIn as videos, and I've done pretty well. Like I've gotten a number of views on my LinkedIn videos, but it's just like it's just so hard to just post stuff on there, first of all, and then second of all, to get comments and likes, it's like it's just not good, you know.
I've had some success there, and it's doing well for me. My podcast does well over there. I've actually been able to move some traffic from that to certain YouTube videos sometimes. Interestingly, I find photo posts do well over there, whether they're graphics or photos, and just straight up text post a lot of times too. I am redeveloping my overall LinkedIn strategy, but I think it leaves much to be desired as a content platform, but I do think it's a legitimate content platform. And I think for marketers and business people, it's the new Facebook. Back when Facebook was good to marketers, LinkedIn is now back for that community. And in that regard, I think it's passable or comparable to the heyday of Facebook in 2010, 2012 for marketers. LinkedIn's a little better than Facebook was for marketers in that regard.
All right. So there's Unbox said that I think Amazon will create something better than YouTube and their YouTube. Okay, Amazon purchased Twitch, which Twitch is not anything remotely close to what YouTube is in the sense of the kind of content and the kind of creators that
or scale
will upload. It's
and
different.
DMCA is worse, and creator terms of service and creator treatment is worse. Twitch is worse than YouTube.
And Amazon also allows, they have a system where if you are a filmmaker, you can upload your content. So like if you have a short film, a documentary or something like this, like you don't have to be a studio. You can just direct, like as if you were on YouTube or
Yeah,
Vimeo.
I actually am doing that with all my speaking stuff. Yeah.
You can do that. And and you do get a cut and like all this stuff. So it's like cutting out the middleman. It's like having access to Netflix and cutting out the middleman, which is great. But again, the UI for Amazon content is horrible. Their video library is very difficult to find. Like if I don't know exactly what it is that I want to watch and search for it, I won't be able to find it.
Even as a viewer, their video mobile apps are trash, homie. They're bad. Like and that's why they don't have the user penetration or adoption. Hulu's killing it. Crunchyroll's got it down. Like Amazon, for all of their money, on the content creator and on the content consumption side, they are trash, my homies. Like they are good at acquiring licenses to stuff you would want to watch, but the trouble you have to go through to watch it, they are trash. There is bad. It's just bad.
Amazon
and you cannot
needs to work on their UI first if they're gonna be doing any kind of competition.
Yeah,
I mean, because technically they already have access to the technology. You know,
they're building something. I know people. I'm talking to people about it. I'm talking to creators that they're consulting. They're not listening to the creators. So if you think Amazon is going to build a creator first platform, if you think Amazon's going to build a creator first platform, you're all deluding yourselves. I felt that they were the only ones who had the resources to compete with YouTube. And I always said my issue would be the culture and whether or not they understood creators, and they failed. But now I have there's a new hope though. There's a new hope. There's only one platform that could get it right, and it's because they are moving slow and steady and doing their own thing, and because they are not stupid.
TikTok?
And that is Spotify, my homies.
Oh.
Yeah. I feel like if any of the big tech companies could do it, it's probably closer to the thing is that
They're the only ones beating YouTube at something, by the way.
right.
Oof.
It either has to be something that's totally at a left field, like some startup company that's doing something, but they gotta.
They won't have the cash after COVID.
Exactly. It's got to be really backed up. Like there's just no.
COVID derailed innovation, except in a dozen of verticals.
And here's the thing: it's not just about the money; it's also about the decade-long.
The name recognition.
history
Yeah, the name recognition. You
that
have to be a
YouTube
household name.
has.
Yeah, you have to be a household name already.
Right, and it's hard to compete, not just because of the money, but also because why would I go to another platform if I'm already on this one that works? It's got problems,
but actually, I have the answer to that though, because it has to be that you already are on yet another platform, and you also have the name recognition.
That's what I'm saying. If it was like some brand new.
But you also need here's the reason here's the reason why VidMe and everybody else failed. Do you want me to tell you the real reasons, and then why Spotify is launching a cold war against YouTube that will last another 2 to 5 years before they reveal themselves? It's like, we'll make ourselves known to the Jedi, you know, like before they like they take their revenge.
Yes.
Okay.
Enlighten us.
I'll enlighten you with the tale of Doth Spotify the Wise. Like, but anyway, the reason that everything failed, the reason that everything that competes with YouTube fails, is partly they run out of cash, and Google won't. Like, so that's one. And then the other part is because they run out of cash, they never have the engineering talent to develop proprietary systems. The algorithm and all of these things are patented, and people don't understand how expensive licensing technology is if you don't invent it. And when you don't have money, you can't hire inventors and innovators. You can't hire the kids and give them a payday versus them sitting in their garage and building something themselves and keeping it all and wanting to be the next Zuckerberg. You see what I'm saying? Even Zuckerberg couldn't buy out Snapchat and Evan Spiegel. You see, he decided to stay independent. You need a certain amount of money, and sometimes you don't. And sometimes you could have all the money and still not buy out the talent. Like, talent costs money. And then you see another version of it is that's just the engineering talent. Let's talk about creator talent. Attracting and making something that appeals to small creators doesn't work. As much as we'd all love to believe that small creators are the lifeblood of these platforms, let's not kid ourselves, and let's look at data. Let's look at facts and get out of our feelings. And this is nothing against small channels and small creators. I'm telling you this for your own good to understand why you don't have leverage, because I had to learn this lesson even as an employee of why I didn't have leverage and what I had to change. And the reality is that 90% of traffic on YouTube, and this isn't a case study that a data firm from, I think, Germany did, and I quote, 90% of traffic on YouTube flows to the top 3% of channels on YouTube. That's not even the 80-20 rule, homie. That's really disproportionate. So literally, anyone who's not in the top 3% of channels only contributes to 10% of the overall global traffic on the platform. You don't have any leverage. YouTube could lose like 90% of its creators and it would not matter. And I'm not saying it wouldn't matter to me or the advertisers or to YouTube. I'm saying it wouldn't matter to the viewers, because you can't ignore where they have put their eyeballs. As much as they say they care, you cannot ignore that. You cannot ignore that they are taking 90% of the attention and giving it to a very small collective of people instead of the abundance of smaller channels and creators. And that's just how it is. The people decided, and we serve at the pleasure of the people. You cannot ignore that. When we don't serve at the pleasure of the people, that's why we don't succeed. We don't succeed when we don't create value for more people. We will be rewarded in proportion to the amount of value we create for people at scale. That's just the truth. If you serve a a dozen people well, maybe you'll be able to survive. If you serve hundreds of people well, you will thrive. If you serve thousands or tens of thousands of people well enough, you will dominate. And that's just the truth. That's the reality. If you serve millions at scale, then you will put a dent in the universe. And that's just how it is. And you can't argue with the proportionality of contribution. You just can't, because the math is the math and the people have dictated their demands. You supply it or you don't. So that's just how it is. And that's how it is in life, is you get what you want by giving people what they want or need. And that's how it is. It's always been that way. And the issue becomes that with something like YouTube, to compete with that, you'd have to be able to bring those big talents that drive 90% of the traffic over. Now, if you ask them to leave YouTube, you have to throw an absurd amount of money at them and get them to risk uncertainty, or you have to give them a non-exclusive deal, which is less profitable to you. So that becomes a bear and a problem. So what do you do about it? Well, here's why Spotify works. Spotify works because they can actually do the thing that made YouTube, and they've been doing the thing that made YouTube. Everyone refuses to understand that homegrown creators did not make YouTube successful. Music videos made YouTube successful, period.
Lip syncing.
Music videos, lip syncing, music video parodies, music covers
music.
made YouTube successful and made YouTube scalable outside of internet culture to be a household name. World premieres stopped happening on MTV and started happening on YouTube. Spotify is poised for that, has the agreements, has the licensing deals, has the star power, has the name recognition, has the decade plus, has the infrastructure. And because creators are branching into music, because TikTok stars also have a relationship with music, and it's a new platform that doesn't offer and Spotify and TikTok are different, there can be a jump from being TikTok stars to Spotify stars, and those people still have a presence on YouTube. Spotify can poach top tier talent without having to actually go head to head with YouTube and make people choose. And Spotify is doing that with recruiting Joe Rogan. They tried to get Joe Buttons. They got Charlie and Dixie D'Amelio. They got Keem and FaZe Banks. They got David Dobrik. They got all these. They're doing it slowly, but they are building a stable not only of the celebrities through the music side and the rising TikTok stars, but even established YouTube creators. They're pulling from every possible platform, every possible media, every possible genre, because of the intersection of music and podcasting, and music videos and podcasts give them a gateway into video. And they have the resources, the name recognition, the star power. They have everything that VidMe, Vessel, Vidler failed to get. They got it all.
Speaking of Spotify, do we have any new reviews?
Hold on, I'll go check.
I'll tell you guys, while you're checking, I'll tell you guys a fun fact. Romina, how many, without cheating, how many people do you think are subscribed to YouTube Premium?
I don't know. I'm one of them.
Yes. Audrey, how many people you think are subscribed to YouTube Premium?
Well, how many people, how many users does YouTube have?
2 billion monthly users worldwide. Worldwide.
Okay. 300,000.
Wow, that's like interesting. You think 300,000 out of 2 billion people?
Bruh, no,
Chat, what do you think?
Maybe
Chat,
40 million.
Chat, how many people do you guys think are subscribed to YouTube Premium and are paying members of YouTube Premium?
No, I'm kidding. It's not going to be that low. I mean, just because there's creators who have their shows, and just by that alone, their subscribers are going to subscribe to YouTube Premium to watch their YouTube originals, you know?
Sure. Which they stopped doing YouTube originals, by the way, with the exception of Marquez's. There's like 5 YouTube originals they continued with. They scrapped them all. I'll tell you the number: 20 million.
Hey, I was kind of close.
Audrey was probably one of the closest. 20 million. But doesn't that also feel ridiculously low, and doesn't that feel in some capacity like they kind of failed? 2 billion monthly users worldwide, and you got 20 million people to pay you $10 a month.
It seems pretty low.
Do you want to guess how many people subscribe to Spotify Premium?
At least three, maybe.
But that's their whole
500.
business
No.
model.
I'm gonna
How
say
many people do you think-
350 million.
I know. I'm gonna say like 200 million.
Okay, so Spotify itself has 286 million monthly active users.
I think we were like just like far apart enough.
So the thing is, they
Yeah,
don't
you're
have the
right.
billions of global adoption that YouTube has yet. But like, hear me out on this. But they have 130 million paying Spotify Premium users. They have a tenth of YouTube's user base, but for their premium offering, without even offering a video service, they have 50% adoption of paying subscribers to YouTube's 10%, I think. Like, was it? No, sorry.
Way
YouTube's
less.
1%. YouTube has 1% of its entire user base doing its paid offering. Spotify has 50% of its user base. That's insanity to think. And the thing is, remember, 100 million more people pay for Spotify than pay for YouTube. And Spotify is a tenth of YouTube's size and user base. That should tell you that Spotify is the only legitimate threat to YouTube. Is the only legitimate threat to YouTube. Twitch monthly users. Let's see. Twitch has Twitch has 3 million streamers.
Oh.
Twitch has 3 million streamers, and its daily viewers is pegged at like 15 million. Its monthly users. Twitch has 140 million monthly users. So it is smaller. Twitch is smaller than Spotify now. Twitch is smaller than Spotify now by half.
Wow.
Even with all of Amazon's money, Twitch is smaller than Spotify by half, and it's 1/20th the size of YouTube. And in terms of streamers, it's not even close.
I was gonna read them, Romina. I have.
You're gonna
read
read
it.
it. Yeah, but I'm gonna put it up on the screen. I'm
Okay.
gonna make it interactive. You know what I'm saying?
Should I read it?
Yeah.
Okay. For me, Audrey, Romina, and Roberto are awesome. This show is so much fun and informative that I really wish it could be extended to 2 hours. It basically is at this point.
We
but
can't
okay.
do that.
This is
Thank
Aurea
you.
HM 1997. Thanks for the review, Aurea.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys, if you would like to be featured on our podcast, which has a whopping who knows how many people watching right now, then leave us a review. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or any other place where we can get reviews, except I guess Spotify, because there's no reviews there. But
Because they won't do their damn job. Because they're busy trying to take on YouTube.
But definitely leave us some reviews, because we are featuring them and they mean a lot to us, because it's really the only validation that we get these days.
That,
Yep, fair.
Isn't there
According to
another
our homie Unboxed Warehouse, Amazon Prime has 112 million subscribers.
Oof. Oof.
I'm kind of surprised it's not more.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? Those are whopping numbers. I'm not dissing them. I'm just saying perspective-wise, I'm pointing out the business reality of why this is so difficult. And I'm pointing out these business realities because think about it. We as creators, like most creators never think of this. They think in the context of what benefits them, even sometimes, frankly. Because you know what? I've like almost no creator. Their creators in our chat, by the way, are different because the creators in our chat have brought up constantly, and I want to address this. Not being able to control the experience of their viewers. And my answer to that is, well, then please work really hard to get monetized so that you can turn off the ads and control them instead of letting YouTube make the decision for your viewers. do fight for your viewers in that way then, and ask your viewers to support you in that way. And I know it's not easy. I'm saying it's worth it. And in that regard, the other thing I would say is most creators on the comments on my video is almost to 30,000 views in 24 hours. And most of the comments, and there's like over 1,000 comments, almost none of the comments are about people being mad about the experience their viewers have. It's about them feeling excluded or feeling exploited by YouTube or them being taken advantage of. It's about everything they feel entitled or hurt about or emotional about. And almost none of those, not even 1% of those comments, are about the experience the viewer has and the fact that the viewer is the one who loses on this. But the viewer loses, but only slightly, because just remember, free content. You don't want ads. You can support creators and you can just pay for the premium membership. And I know everyone doesn't have money like that. But then if we're going to take things for free, I don't think we get to complain about them given the price.
Facts.
I don't even get the support from people I pay hundreds of dollars a month. The Comcast, and not just Comcast, but every internet service provider, I pay these people absurd amounts of money for them to actually treat me worse than you ever think the platforms are treating you.
So that review,
every utility,
that review earlier,
every service provider.
Right. That review earlier was from from Henry Martinez, who just clarified in the chat for us that's his username.
Thank you, Henry.
Thanks, Henry.
Thank you, Henry.
Very great. Great review.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But yeah, I mean, I think we pay for things that we have a worse experience with that we're not nearly as vocal about as these platforms. Yeah, Cart Galaxy. Successful creators always put the viewer experience first. Absolutely. Guys, I went and I changed my entire editing format and added an hour to my editing time for now until I refine it. And then when I train Paul, he'll be able to take it off my plate completely with this. But I changed my editing format to increase what I call viewer experience or viewer enjoyment on my videos. And you guys might have noticed my editing on my last couple of videos has been completely different than it's been in the past, because I actually came up with a scientific formula to increase. I literally, guys, I'll tell you, Audrey Romina, I'll tell you how to do this later. I literally doubled average view duration and I doubled retention rate. I doubled my retention rate. Huh?
You put
What's
more
that?
views.
Yes, but there was but I did it scientifically though.
There's
It
a
wasn't just more
formula.
B-roll. It wasn't
Audrey.
just more B-roll.
There's a formula.
It
He
wasn't
told
just more
us.
B-roll, Audrey.
Okay.
It wasn't just more B-roll. I
curious to
literally
hear.
I'll tell you guys offline. It's like I scientifically did this, but I'll tell you, it didn't just increase the retention rate. It increased the completion rate to 40 to 50% of people finish watching the video now.
Wow.
Here's the bad news. The bad news. That doesn't make the video perform better by itself.
Yeah.
You'd still have to get a lot of watch time, meaning that it's easier to do the shorter the videos are. You have to be able to do that on a video that gets more watch time, and you still would have to get a high click-through rate. So you can't just make quality content. I've disproven the fallacy of quality content. You still have to do other things and not just make a video that people liked and enjoyed, because I literally got the best stats I've ever gotten in viewer experience, and it wasn't enough for YouTube to push it more. It was not enough for YouTube to push the video more.
Oh, sorry. I was getting distracted by. Wait, Romina, can you hold it back a little bit? Yeah. Up.
I'm not entertaining this because it's not handsome
no,
Squidward.
Closer. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, there. Hold on. Shoot. Well,
What are you doing?
I'm completing his arm.
I see.
Wow.
I had to.
Yeah. Quantity matters because you need that to scale opportunity, but you have to go. But the thing is, quantity matters, quality matters. They don't work on their own. You still need another variable. You need the value proposition to be right. You need value to the viewer to be right. And that's based entirely in topic, title, thumbnail, and timing. The quality of my videos did not change. The only thing that changed was there's 2 factors. Viewer enjoyment is the quality of your videos. Sure, viewer experience, viewer enjoyment, but viewer interest is the beginning of the funnel anyway, because people can't enjoy what they're not interested in to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, so you can't just make a good video. You also have to make a good video that people will give a chance. You can't just make a good video. You have to make a good video that people will give a chance. And if you can't figure out the title and the topic and the thumbnail and that good stuff, your only hope is to make a video so good that people will share it.
How can we see the reviews that people leave on other platforms? Because Michael doesn't have an Apple device, and so he can't leave us a review on Apple.
The only other one that I know that you can leave a review on is Stitcher. Does Google have reviews?
Mm-hmm. There's another one on Apple.
Yeah, but do we want to read them all at the same time? Let's save it.
No, we'll save it for next show.
Yeah.
We pick one a show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Michael says he left one on like 7 sites.
Oh, sweet. Appreciate you, Michael.
So thanks, Michael.
Michael holding it down.
Yeah, we don't have your exact review to read out loud. Maybe we'll try to find it, one of them, so we can read it next episode. But we'll give you a little shout out. Oh, he's texted me all of the sites. All right, I'll check them out, Michael. Thank you.
Oh, cool. Sweet.
Well, speaking about all of the things that you're going to tell us offline,
the segues are amazing.
Are you ready to wrap up this episode?
MG Art says, I did mention the viewer. I was told it was nonsense. LOL.
Wow.
It depends on the context in which you were talking about, because there is like... Sorry, no, I wanted to address the chat. It's like, it depends on the context. There are things that are nonsensical, and then there are things that are valid. There are things that are nonsensical and things that are valid. Viewer experience matters, but what's nonsense is the idea that YouTube is going to do X, Y, and Z. Because realistically, there's a realistic thing of what YouTube will and won't do, and what we can expect that becomes like a fantasy or wish fulfillment. Or the idea that there's exploitation, that's nonsense. Like, YouTube is a platform, it's a free platform. That's not, it's a free platform. Where's the exploitation of like that argument will never make sense to me. Viewer experience, I don't think, is nonsense. So it's all about how we phrase things, or what we're talking about, or whether or not we're all talking about the same thing, even if we use the same words. Viewers matter, and putting them first matters. But if YouTube is going to make rules that would not necessarily allow you a certain level of control, you just have to decide. Are you going to do what it takes to then have the control back from YouTube over your viewers' experience? Like anything else in life, control over yourself or your circumstances or whatever often isn't just granted to you just like that because you want it or you think you deserve it or because of anything we would want to believe is fairness. When has that ever been true? That's and even if we say, well, the world should be that way, it's like, great, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to make the world as it should be? What are you going to do? That would require leverage. So you don't have any. What now? You're still going to have to play by the rules, even when you don't agree with the rules. Mm-hmm. If you ever want the right to change the rules, if you ever want the right to change the rules, you would still be obliged to win the game. You can't just expect the other side to forfeit. It doesn't happen. That's all I'm saying. And I might be short with people when I say that or the way that I phrase it. It's just that I accept the reality that is. And if I want to have the right to change it, I have to understand how it works. That's all.
And just to add to that, Andy says about the business mindset. People who've got the business mindset don't say things like, YouTube is taking advantage of me. They create other avenues of income. Exactly. We're not reliant on AdSense. What do you guys think about
AdSense.
that?
AdSense is like AdSense. If people are saying AdSense would or being part of the partner program would motivate them to do X, Y, and Z, like think about it. If you really were going to put the audience first in a lot of ways, but you're saying that you aren't motivated or you don't want to make YouTube content if YouTube is going to make money off of your work, then that's about you. That's not about any value you could create for a viewer. That's not about anything. Like if you're saying, I don't want YouTube to benefit off my hard work, that's not putting the audience first. That's not putting viewers first. And that's not about the art that you want to create. That's not about the art that you want to create just because, oh, someone else is going to profit from my, like, okay. And by the way, when you you realize how disproportionately YouTube profiting a penny or less of you off of your hard work. Do you realize that the job you go to right now where they pay you a wage, you do realize they're reselling your effort and labor at a value of literally 100 times whatever they're paying you, right? You do realize that if you make $50,000 for a company, they probably make $500,000 to like 5 million off of whatever you produce, right? Like, and you're gonna cry because YouTube is gonna make a fraction of a penny for every view that you get.
Wait, Roberto, why are we still talking about this?
Because I'm an old man who likes to yell at clouds. Because I'm an old man yelling at clouds. Get off my lawn! Get off my
I want
lawn!
to know how that thing is
Why
holding
are
onto
there
your
clouds
finger.
on your lawn?
Can that thing's arms move?
No.
Besides, I don't have an outro yet.
Okay.
All right, well, we'll let you think about the outro while I talk to Audrey about my little Patrick star.
So
no.
it was just made like that?
Yeah, he's just got little arms like that.
So its entire purpose is to just,
Sit on my finger? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's what's up.
Where did you get that?
I didn't. It just appeared on my desk one day.
That's slightly terrifying.
This is how I live my life. I just have to have little friends.
Oh my goodness.
I've got little mammoths.
Oh, where you get all
Oh,
that.
I have my outro now.
All right, guys. I guess we're gonna wrap this up now.
This
And,
was a good episode.
Yeah, it was a great episode, like every other episode.
That's true.
I
they're all
could
good.
have done better.
Are you fishing for compliments right now?
No, I really feel like I could have done better.
All right, guys.
We ready?
Roberto's gonna take us out.
Thank you for listening to the No Assembly Required podcast, filmed in front of a live YouTube audience. No audience members were harmed in the filming of this episode, only the feelings of my co-host. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcast. You cannot do so on Spotify because they will not do their damn job and update the app because they're busy launching a war with YouTube that they will probably win. Thank you so much for tuning into our program. This has been your trio of hosts signing off tonight, starting with Romina and her little friends, Audrey, Burn It All Down Ember, and of course, your favorite dark lord of the internets, the master of fighting mediocrity at every turn, Roberto Blake. Thank you for listening to the No Assembly Required podcast. Please be sure to subscribe and tune in next week for another interesting, if not somewhat random topic. Thank you so much. Nop.